Did you ever come close to giving up at all?
And even in the dark, I clung to the hand I couldn't see. I can tell you that I have learned that scars make the best storytellers. I would choose the valley, because in the valley, I saw his face. That sometimes the greatest gift is not an explanation, but a deeper revelation.
What do you do when everything you've built burns to ash? When the prayers go unanswered and the silence feels as if it will never end? Well, welcome to Bible Voices from the Past, where we speak with those who walk through the pages of Scripture and live to tell the story. I'm your host, Jonathan McClintock, and today we are speaking with a man whose suffering is almost too great to imagine. He lost his wealth, his health, and his children, and still declared with great conviction, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." Well, sit right back, relax, and for the next few minutes, enjoy this Bible voice from the past.
In the beginning, there was chaos and darkness in the void when God said, "Let there be light."
With us today is a man whose story didn't end in pain, but in finding God's presence. He's joining us today as he sits just outside his tent on his property in the land of Uz. Job, thank you for joining us and speaking with us about your life.
Thank you, Jonathan. I can tell you that I have learned that scars make the best storytellers. So yes, I'm glad to speak.
You were once the wealthiest, most respected man in the East, and then suddenly, just out of nowhere, it all collapsed. Did you have any clue as to why all of that happened?
No. It just came out of nowhere, and that was the hardest part. If I had sinned, or if I had failed, then maybe I could have explained it. But when everything fell apart, I was blameless, and the silence of heaven was deafening.
You lost your children, you lost your health, your friends even turned on you, even your wife. She said, "Curse God and die," Job. Did you ever come close to giving up at all?
Yes, it was devastating. I cursed the day I was born. I shouted into the void. But there's a difference between doubting God and wrestling with Him. But I never let go. And even in the dark, I clung to the hand I couldn't see.
I mean, your friends, or I should say your so-called friends, they kept accusing you of like some hidden sin you were covering up. How did you endure that?
Because I knew the truth, and because I believed God did too. But the truth is, their words wounded me more than the boils on my skin. They wanted easy answers to deep mysteries, but I learned firsthand that suffering doesn't always come with an explanation.
Well, then comes the turning point. God finally speaks, but he doesn't really give you an answer, right? He just posed about a lot of questions to you, like, where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? What was that moment actually like?
On one hand, it was absolutely terrifying, but it was also a healing experience. I had demanded a courtroom, but instead, I got a whirlwind, and in that whirlwind, I met God. And He was not the God I thought I knew, but the one whose ways are higher. And that encounter did more to restore me than any explanation ever could.
You famously said that my ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. What changed to make you say that?
Before this, I knew about God. But after hearing His voice, I truly knew Him, not because He spared me from pain, but because He met me in it.
Well, you've since been restored, from what I read, twice as much as you had before. But if you could go back and choose, make the choice at the beginning when all this happened, if you could choose no suffering, what would you do now? What would you choose?
I would choose the valley, because in the valley I saw his face.
Well, Job, I appreciate you joining with us today. And for those listening who are walking through their own grief, maybe their own period of silence, God is not speaking, their own time of loss where it seems like every time they turn and whatever direction they go, they're losing something. What would you, the man we all look to who went through so much loss, what would you want people today who are maybe going through some similar things, what would you want them to know?
I want them to know that silence does not necessarily mean absence. I want them to know that unanswered prayers are not unheard ones, and that sometimes the greatest gift is not an explanation, but a deeper revelation. So, in the middle of the fight, keep wrestling, even when the tears don't stop, because on the other side of the storm, I promise you, there is a God who speaks from the whirlwind.
Well, Job, thank you, not just for surviving your own story, but for using that story to teach us how to hold on when everything else falls apart.
Thank you for listening, Jonathan. I pray my story encourages someone to keep holding on.
Oh, I know it will. It will definitely encourage somebody to keep holding on. Thank you, Job. Well, he lost everything, but he found something deeper. Not just restoration, but revelation. That was Job, a man who walked through devastation and came out closer to God than ever before. This has been Bible Voices from the Past, and if you would like to see this video, this podcast, and watch as Job and I speak to each other for a few minutes, you can do that by going to YouTube and subscribing to our YouTube channel, also called Bible Voices from the Past. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and continue to join us each time we bring another Bible voice from the past. This has been Bible Voices from the Past, Bible stories reimagined, truth rediscovered. Until next time.
In the beginning, there was chaos and darkness in the void when God said, "Let there be light."